The abscess tooth that revealed the truth between my partner 25M, and I 27M. It's a bit difficult to figure where it all went wrong, but I think that I just witnessed the truth between the vacation, the declaration, the unmentionable, and my disappointment. A bit of story time. My partner and I both work in the service industry, and I've been back since early May working around 60 to 80 hours a week, and he's been working around 30 to 35. I've been contributing more to household bills, savings and general expenses because he isn't making as much. He needed a vacation and I was going to lose my marbles without one. We planned a quick trip to a nearby town, but then his friends got added onto it. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I wasn't thrilled about sharing our vacation with other people, but I didn't have the mental capacity to explain what I wanted out of our vacation because I'm so exhausted and truly living day by day. So the departure date quickly arrives, but I'm in immense pain. My tooth is giving me all sorts of hell. This is where I tell myself that I need to get a mouthguard for my nighttime grinding issue, but the pain is relentless, and I realize that after I wake up one morning and see my face swollen that perhaps this isn't just a nighttime grinding issue. We scurry over to the dentist, and after they take some x-rays and poking around in my mouth, they declare, "You have a necrotic tooth and you need an extraction or a root canal." Fuck. I realize that this isn't going to be a fix I can do while on vacation, seeing as how bad the infection is. The fix will be spread over 2 appointments a few weeks apart. I'm in so much pain that I break down at the house while crawling into bed because it all hit me at once. I'm going to have to spend a whole lot of money on my face. I won't be able to enjoy the vacation. I took time off for nothing, and I hate everyone and everything in the world right now. I decide that I'm going to go home so I can be in my own bed at my own house, but then he asks the unmentionable, "Do you mind if I stay?" I told him that I obviously wanted him to come home with me, but I ultimately told him that I'm not going to be mad if he stays behind. It's true, I'm not mad that he stayed behind. I'm disappointed that it even crossed his mind, because if the shoe was on the other foot and my partner had a medical emergency, then I'd drop what I'm doing immediately and go take care of the issue at hand. So what do Reddit? Would you be upset at your partner for bailing on you in a similar situation? I'm a bit ambivalent at this point because this isn't the first time he's been emotionally constipated, and he couldn't give a shit that I've been on the receiving end of. Too long did not read. I had a tooth infection that caused massive swells in my face, but my partner is like the honey badger and doesn't give a shit. He stays on vacation while I drive myself back home and get a root canal to fix this growing softball in my face. My face hole is fixed and he gets back today, but I don't really want him here. What do? This guy isn't it. You can do better. The people saying it's just a toothache and asking what he was supposed to do are missing the point. You were in pain. In your post you said it was so bad that you had to crawl to bed. If he's really your partner, first of all, he wouldn't have invited his friends in your vacation, showing he didn't care to have quality time with you. He would have gone home with you to comfort you. Use this incident to examine if you even want to spend the rest of your life with him. How did you even get home safely? You paid for the vaca and he stay and played while you drove yourself home with your severe pain? Give him notice to vacate your life. You said it, this isn't the first time. Your choice if it's the last time. Personally, I'm not down for a relationship with someone who's fine taking a vacation for 2 and turning it into their hangout with buddies while I go to the dentist because I look and feel like a baseball after batting practice. I'd be simultaneously furious and heartbroken. This would be a relationship killer for sure. Love would be dead. I would be really upset in your position. I get that he doesn't want to give up his trip, but neither do you. You didn't just go, "Ooh, an abscess, this sounds like fun." I was in a lot of pain that day, to the point that I was crying from the pain and aggravation. Instead of wanting to be there to support me, you asked to stay. When I told you that I would prefer you be with me, you chose to be absent and left me to deal with everything alone. This isn't the first time you've chosen to leave me alone when I needed your emotional support. I can't be mad because this is a repeating pattern, but I can be and am very disappointed because, while I love you, it feels like you don't love or care about me. I need time to figure out my feelings on all of this. What I do know is that, right now, I don't want you here while I figure them out. Hey, I let these things slide for years. I always looked from his perspective. He needs this vacation. It makes no sense that both our holidays are over, but he would never do the same for me. 13 years later he replaced me for another woman, because he deserves something more special. It is not innocent. They are selfish and will only become more selfish. The bottom line is that he asked, you answered, and he took you at your word. Especially since it doesn't sound like he's real big on emotional nuance, it's not reasonable to expect him to read your mind and interpret, no, I wouldn't be mad if you stayed, as, I wouldn't be mad, but I'd be disappointed and sad and you should come with me even though I just told you not to. You need to be clearer about what you want and need from him. If instead you'd told him, I'd really like you to come back with me and help me through oral surgery, do you think he would have done what you asked? You told him you wouldn't get mad? This one's on you, you got to speak words you actually mean. You should have told him the truth, that you would be angry, upset, disappointed if he didn't come. I guess I'll be the asshole and say that I don't think he did anything wrong. It's an unfortunate, shitty situation, but if it were my tooth, I'd tell my wife to stay with her friends, but I'd actually mean it. Get the tooth fixed, then make the best out of having a few days alone time at home. I've had an abscessed tooth before. Once you extract the rot, the pain relief is immediate. Oh, and you should have the tooth done, too. IDK, if I was in your shoes I'd be absolutely heartbroken my partner couldn't set aside their own desires when I'm in immense pain. And he forced you to drive yourself back home on your own, with a raging tooth infection. God forbid you'd had a sudden complication, rare, but always possible with massive infections and necrotic tissues, while he was off having a great break with his pals. It's up to you whether or not you can forgive him for this, but hun, what happens the next time you have a medical emergency he doesn't want to deal with or support you through? This is the kind of stuff that shows what kind of person he is, and this is not a good sign in my book. Good luck. I told him that I obviously wanted him to come home with me, but I ultimately told him that I'm not going to be mad if he stays behind. I absolutely hate this scenario. Just say no, you can't stay. It isn't that hard. Now you're mad because who gave him permission to do something you didn't want him to do? You should have never given permission. My partner had to have a very painful dental procedure last year and I took the day off work so I could drive him and be home with him after. Boss didn't really like it, but I really didn't care. Didn't cross my mind to leave him alone like that, and I would have left my dream vacation in a heartbeat to be with him during that time. Your partner is a selfish man. It sounds to me like all the time you've spent trying to get him to give you the minimum when you've been the one holding the relationship up has taken its toll on you. The fact that you were not mad, just disappointed that he didn't choose you yet again points even more to that fact. The absence of love is not hate, it's apathy. You've been the one holding it together so long on your own that it sounds like you are at the point where you are dissociating from him and from your relationship. Once I reached that point with my ex, I left, because I would rather have had to deal with life alone than be with someone and still feel alone. Once I left, I felt more alive and less alone than I had in years. I would break up. The fact that he asked that shows where his heart lies. Move him out. Your partner let you drive home in pain so excruciating you were on the floor from it? Did they realize how bad it was? Did you tell them? I'm laying in bed reading your post as I just endured a difficult tooth extraction. I spent 12 hours bleeding and drooling trying to sleep sitting up. Today is better but I'm still in pain and my jaw is swollen half closed. If I had a partner I would 100% expect him to be here with me. Freshening up my ice pack. Making sure I have water. I could use a snack too. I haven't eaten in 26 hours and I'm feeling shaky but I have no soft foods suitable for my predicament. That's what a partner does. In sickness and in health you care for your partner. If he's not there when you need him, you won't miss him when you don't. Go get you a better man. Honestly, this is the point where I would evaluate my attachment to this person versus what you value in a relationship. He should have been there for you. Also, he sounds exactly like my ex-husband. I'd be done. What do? You move on. You realize he was never your boyfriend, or cared about you. Because someone who cared about you wouldn't let you go home while in mind-numbing pain by yourself. Someone who cared for you would drop everything and take you home. It wouldn't have to be asked of them. They'd just do it, and they'd be happy to do it. Because that's what caring about your partner is. I would also be concerned about what's going on with your hopefully soon-to-be ex-boyfriend and the friend, if he cared more about staying on vacation with them than anything to do with you. IDKU, and even I know you can do better X. I've had some oblivious exes, but if I were in trouble the least they would do was take me home, get me settled, and then go back out to join the party after my situation was stabilized. If I were to give your boyfriend benefit of the doubt, maybe he doesn't realize your pain levels. You mentioned he was there when the doctor declared the necrotic tooth and that in a separate incident you crawled into bed crying, but you didn't mention if he was in bed with you or had witnessed the extent of your pain. Do you feel like you communicated your mood and needs clearly? I only wonder about your communication because in your shoes I wouldn't give him the out by saying, I'm not going to be mad. I would be super clear and say, I am in a lot of pain and I need your help. Come home with me. So, I had an sinus infection for the first time in my life at 23. I had a boyfriend at the time that worked from home, didn't live together at that time, who took me from my house where I was alone, tossed me into his bed, gave me food and meds to help and checked on me for 3 days. That's what a loving partner does when they can't help. In sickness and in health. That's all you need to know. Either this guy doesn't have enough empathy to care about a partner, or he just doesn't care that much about you. Would you be okay with either of these options? The good news I can give you is that the pain will be over after your first appointment and you could even go on a trip. Maybe alone. Find someone who is willing to pull their weight and more importantly, able to care about you the way you care about them. Yep, he is emotionally constipated and I love your description. Sometimes we have to tell people how to treat us. I have learned this the hard way and I'm still learning. Be honest with yourself and tell him how disappointed you feel, that you didn't realize how bad it was. Tell him your expectations for next time, that if any other medical emergency comes up you expect him to be there. Stick to this one situation and the facts. You needed him, he wasn't there next time he needs to be. This a point where the two of you are currently kind of incompatible. I mean, it's like this, your expectations are different regarding this issue. You guys could try talking this out, but if this happens with more than 3 to 5 issues in your relationship, that's kind of a deal breaker. Bear in mind. Basically, talk about it calmly and try to be empathetic, both of you. If he tries to dodge around or put words in your mouth or stuff like that, punish his ass. I don't mean the couch but something like, we need time off or something like that. Your partner cannot be trusted to put your needs ahead of his wants. Period. He's done it at least twice just regarding this vacation. First by inviting his friends when you wanted something chill for just the two of you, and second by abandoning you when you could have really used his support helping you get home and caring for you. You do not have a supportive partner. You have a partner who likes you okay and is willing to hang around since you pay most of the bills and let him run all over you, but who wouldn't even look up from the TV if you came in bloody as long as you weren't dripping it on him. You deserve so much fucking better than him. Once you love someone, only time shows you who they really are. This guy isn't a good LTR partner as he can't be selfless when it's needed, and for a long, happy and healthy relationship you have to be able to do that. It shouldn't even be questioned. He would have instinctually wanted to come home with you if he was the guy for you long term. You could have told him the truth. It's disappointing you would even ask, but you can stay. It does hurt my feelings. But it is what it is and it's not a good sign. Mr. Right now, not Mr. Right. You answered it yourself. I don't really want him here, and I don't blame you. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. I wouldn't think it was so bad if you flew and would probably tell my partner to stay, but the fact that you drove yourself? Oh hell no. Once my car broke down and the guy the first had started dating 2 months before left work and drove an hour to come help me. If anything happens he is right beside me. You deserve that and this guy ain't it. It's always good to see things from more than your own perspective. He didn't bail on you if you left, and he did ask you if you mind if he stays, and you gave him the okay. You should have stated that it was important instead of lying. It's not a medical emergency in my opinion, as it's not immediately life-threatening. Dental pain is probably the worst pain out there. Cloves can help. You gave him the option and he took it. My guy, what's the point of being in a relationship if he can't even be there for you when you need him? If your partner has a stomach ache, you're meant to be there for them. You have a whole necrotic tooth that requires root canal and he's on the vacation you paid for, with his friends instead of you. You and your well-being aren't his priorities. Dump him. Find someone who truly loves you and helps you. Hands clapping where you deserve better. You were vulnerable, actively suffering, and your significant other didn't feel the need to help you in any way. In fact, they actively chose to let you deal with those things on your own. To me, I think a break, some continued distance would be helpful. If you are determined to continue in this very one-sided relationship, couples therapy, please. How does he react to your success? Stupid but important question. Throw the whole man away. God damn. Please help me understand why you're working 80 hours a week and he's only working 30. I've given birth and I can honestly say that the abscesses I've had over the years are way worse. Your partner is an ass, and I don't blame you for not wanting him back. I hope you're feeling a lot better now. Yeah, nah, find a new boyfriend, this one is faulty. Yeah, I'd be pretty pissed, but I also feel like it's important to be honest with yourself when you want his support. That being said, I totally think that this indicates some seriously selfish tendencies in your partner, and I would keep it in mind if you see parallels to other parts of your relationship.